Dreams and Beyond ASMR. Tonight I'm going to be telling y'all a story time about when my cousin, she basically snuck this boy over and my uncle found out and he was pissed. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. You're probably going to be seeing me look down a little bit because I have my notes. I don't want to miss any key points about what happened in this story. Um, I did already speak with my cousin and make sure that it was okay to tell this story, and I am part of the story. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. So we just gonna call my cousin V, and her brother, we're gonna call him Donald. That was my cousin also. I was about 17 when it happened. She was like 16, and he was maybe like 14. Her brother Donald. Um, like I said, this is my first time telling a story, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. Excuse me if I'm looking off and all that, cause normally I'm not directly in the camera. But anyways, so my cousin V had been talking to this dude named KJ for a while. Like it really started at like the end of the school year, and it kind of went through like the summer. So when they had first started talking at the end of the school year, they were good. Then summer came, and we're teenagers. I had a car. I was driving. I was like, I had friends. I most likely like went out with my friends, shopping, out to eat, things like that. I wasn't a big partier, but I did have a car, and I was able to drive and go hang with my friends. My cousin V and Donald, like I said, they were 16 and 14 at the time, if I'm not mistaken. But their parents were strict. My uncle, which was my mom's brother, they stayed next door to us. Like, I would say it was my house, and then it was space enough for like another house, and then it was my uncle and aunt's house. The space in between, a house could have been built there, but no one never built one. So we would literally walk across from my house to their house. We could walk, and we did all the time. So, like I was saying, my uncle, he was strict. Like, he didn't play that going, hanging with friends. I guess, he kind of felt like they're too young, and you get the wrong crowd, you can mess up your life. So he was really strict. He didn't let them go hang with friends, basically. They could come over our house, like my mom and dad's house. I was a child, I was a teenager, so it wasn't my house, but my house. They could come, they could hang with me and things like that, but they just couldn't just hang with other people. So anyway, long story short, V and KJ they started talking at the end of the summer. Then they end up getting, the summer ends up coming, and they end up getting like distance between each other because they can't go anywhere. He doesn't have a car, she doesn't have a car, her parents isn't going or whatever. So he starts ghosting her. He's not answering her calls. She's calling him all the time, and she's like coming to me like, "Girl, he has not been answering my calls. I don't know. He's been ghosting me for weeks." And at the time, I'm just like, you need to just cut that loose because it's a summer. Basically, it's summer, and you haven't really just talked to him since we got out of school in May. Like we're like June or July, and she hasn't talked to him. So I'm telling her to let it go. But V was, just to give a little background on V. V was like very shy. She really only talked to people that she like really knew. It was like even family that she just wasn't just talkative in front of. She was a quiet individual. So KJ, he was different. He was kind of known, so it was kind of unusual for her being quiet to be with him. But I think she could have did better, honestly. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so he's ghosting her. Eventually, summer's over, and by then they've started back talking. He's came around, go figure, because we're about to go back to school, and they're talking or whatever, back on good terms. So sometimes I would tell her, like, okay, so we're going to say that I'm going to take you to Walmart, and I'm going to really just take you to see your man, girl. Okay, it's hard to explain how we lived. We lived like on a street, and behind our street was a big complex of houses, and he stayed back there in one of the complex houses. So we would tell my uncle, because my aunt, she wasn't as strict. She was more like the laid back parent, and my uncle was more like the strict parent, the parent who wanted to know everything you were doing, what you were doing, when you were doing it, how long you were going to be doing it, type of parent. So we would always have to let my uncle know, like, hey, we're just going to run to Walmart. And Walmart was maybe about 10, I would say 10, 12 minutes away from our house. So it wasn't that far, but it was far enough for us to be gone for a minute. Like, we got to get there, we got to shop, and then we got to get back. But really, we were only like maybe 5 minutes away in the complex houses behind us. So I would take her over there. She would, get out the car, mingle with him a little bit. I would just sit in the car. I want to say my cousin Donald might have went with us a couple of times. I can't really remember 100% if he really went with us or not. But she would, mingle with him for a little bit, and we would actually head to Walmart because, of course, we got to come back with something. Like, we ain't trying to get caught up. So once they would do their thing, mingle, whatever, like that, not do their thing, but mingle or whatever, like that, we would go to Walmart. We would come back with our stuff. So, so I'm just checking my notes to make sure I didn't leave off anything. Okay, so one day, let's just fast forward to when it all took place. One day, my cousin V and my cousin Donald, they come over my house. Like I said, you could just walk across the lot that wasn't a house, and you would get to our house. And they came over, whatever, and we're just chilling like we always did. They would come over and they would chill. Sometimes I would walk across, go over their house and chill. So they come over and we're chilling or whatever. And V's like, what do you think about KJ coming over? And I'm like, KJ coming over? Like, what do you mean, girl? It's broad daylight outside. Like, when I say it's broad day, it's like broad daylight outside. Like, maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the evening type broad daylight outside. And she was like, well, I'm doing it anyway. And I'm like, what you mean? Like, where y'all gonna go? I mean, I can really just say we're going to Walmart and take you over there like we've been doing. She's like, no, he wants to come. It's too late. He's already on foot on his way. I'm like, girl, this ain't gonna end well. This ain't no good idea. She's like, well, I'm doing it. Like I said, V was quiet. She was shy, but she had her own mind. Like, she gonna do what she wanna do type person. And then I respect it. So, we sitting there for about like 30 minutes. We're trying to come up with a plan. We're like, okay, well, where y'all gonna go? She's like, when he comes, we're just gonna go to the backyard, and I'm gonna talk to him. He's not gonna be here for long. Okay, like I said, their house it's a lot, like a vacant lot where a house can be built, and then it's my uncle's them house. Like, my uncle could peek through the blinds and see what's going on, everything. So I'm sitting up here like, I don't see how this is gonna work. Like, my uncle was the type of parent, we would just be sitting outside on the porch, or standing out in the yard, just talking, tripping out like teenagers do. And we would just see my uncle across the yard peeping over like, y'all better not be doing nothing, you ain't got no business type thing. So I'm just like, I don't know how this gonna work. Mind you, like I said, I'm 17 at the time. She's 16 at the time. And her brother's 14. So I'm like more advanced, if you want to say. Like I said, I hang out with friends. I have a car. I'm able to go. I'm not gonna say go and come as I please, because my parents weren't strict, but they weren't just let me do whatever. But I had more freedom than them. So my uncle side eyeing me like, you better not have my kids up to no good. Which I'm not gonna say I had them up to no good, because she wanted to see her man. So I took her a couple of times, but it wasn't like It wasn't like I had her doing nothing she didn't have no business. Like, if you want to say, I wouldn't say that. But anyways, okay, so back to the story. So we're sitting there about 30 minutes. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do. At this point, we're sitting on the porch. Like, she's like, we're just going to go back there. I'm just going to talk, probably hug him a little bit or whatever. And then he's going to be gone because he's already on his way. I can't let him be on his way and, not let him come. So I'm like, okay, girl, do your thing. Her brother Donald, he's just like, she gonna do what she wanna do. And I'm like, I know, I'm not even gonna try to stop her or whatever. Sorry guys if my camera's like zooming in and out. I'm not really sure what's going on with it. But okay, so next thing I know, KJ walks up. He has on a red shirt. I know you're like, what does that matter? He has on a red shirt. Let me just make sure I didn't skip anything. Okay, I think I'm on track. So he comes up with a red shirt on. I'm not the biggest fan of KJ. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't think my cousin Donald really care. He's just like whatever. He's doing his own thing, his own 14-year-old thing anyway. So he doesn't really care what V and his sister V and KJ has going on. So they say they're gonna go in the backyard. Me and Donald walk V and KJ to the backyard. I don't know why we just walked back there with them. I guess so it wouldn't look suspicious because they're out in the opening. Like, mind you, it's like open space. They're out in the opening. Anybody driving by, peeping out the window, anybody can see them. So, okay, they go to the backyard or whatever. Once they start mingling, me and Donald are like, okay, well, this is our cue to let them do them. I mean, he's here now. What can we do? We tried to talk her out of it. She's not having it. Let's just let them do what they do. So me and Donald, we walk. We go sit back on the porch. My mom has like this little nice porch set where you can, rock back and forth in the chairs. We let them do their thing, whatever that is, while we sitting on the porch talking about how we think this is really finna go down or whatever. Excuse me, I have a summer cold. I don't know if I said that already, but if you hear me sniffling, that's why. But anyway, so while we're sitting there, I look over, because mind you, this right here is the porch. This way is my cousin them's house. So I look over and I see my uncle. He is booking it. When I tell you he is booking it across the yard. But we're already like, okay, this is the house. That way is my uncle and aunt's house and cousins. If you go this way, you can still go around my house. You'll make it there quicker than if you go that way and around. So my uncle is booking it. I tell Donald, I was like, your dad is on his way over here. He's like, no, stop playing. I said, no, your dad is on his way over here. We jump off the porch. We have like bushes in front of our porch. We literally leap over the bushes and book it around the corner of the house where they are or whatever. So I'm telling my cousin V, I'm like, your dad is on his way. Like, it sounds like it's taking a long time. He should have been there, but no, this is like we're moving fast. Like, and it all happened fast. Like, literally by the time I seen him, he was making it out of his yard. And I told my cousin, we jumped off the porch and we made it around the house by the time he's, midway through the vacant lot. So I'm telling her, I'm like, come on, your dad is on his way over here. Which I don't know where we gonna go at this point. What we gonna do, run from him? But anyway, so my uncle makes it over here. We tell KJ to go, like go the way we came, for him to go that way and go ahead and get on the street. We're like, go or whatever. So my uncle walks up and we're like meet him, like, yeah, just us. He's like, who was that? And we're like, who is who? He was like, who was that was just in that red shirt? I saw a guy with a red shirt. And we're looking like, red shirt? He's like, don't play. Who was that in that red shirt? And then he like walks past us, like, I don't have time to play with y'all. He walks past us and head towards the direction he seen that red shirt. Okay, so I'm sitting here like, look, we caught. When I say we, I mean she is called, because we didn't have nothing to do with it. So basically, we go ahead and go back around the house to the porch. My uncle then found KJ, got him walking to the porch. Like I don't know what he was saying at that time because we're making it to the porch just like they're making it to the porch, so we don't know what was said, but my uncle is pissed. He is beyond pissed. He's going off like, what are you doing over here? How do you know my daughter? I don't even know if KJ was answering. I can't even tell you if he was answering or not because I really can't remember. I'm just like, dang, I knew this was going to end badly. So as my uncle is going off, my mom walks at the house because the whole time my mom's been in the house. She walks at the house and she's like, what's going on? Who is he? My uncle's like, some guy that's over here to see V, and I'm asking him what he's doing over here and how he knows my daughter. And my mom's in shock because, like I told you, V is quiet. My aunt, I said my aunt, my cousin V is quiet. My mom is her aunt. And she barely even, talks around her. Like, she talks, but it's not like that. Certain things you'll say around adults when you were a teenager, and you had that, you were preserved to a certain extent. Like, you wouldn't let them see your wild and goofy, crazy side. You played quiet in front of the adults, and you got crazy a little bit when you were with people your age. And that's kind of like how my cousin V was. Like, around my mom, she didn't really talk much. She would answer my mom or my dad. She would, hold a small conversation, but to be sneaking a guy around, that was unusual. So my mom was shocked. She's like, what? Like, she's still trying to put the pieces together as my uncle is telling her, yes, this boy is over here, and I don't know why, I don't know what he's doing over here, and he's just going off as a parent would because he's upset. He didn't even know that his daughter was dating, let alone sneaking around the house with a boy. So while he's going off, he's pissed. He tells my two, let's go, which is V and Donald. So I'm just looking like, like, it's nothing I can do. I don't even really think I said anything because at that time, what can you say? Like, I tried to talk her out of it. I'm not going to tell him that, but I didn't put this together either. I didn't tell her to do it. So those two, they go across the yard with their dad, which leaves KJ just standing there. Like, I guess I got to walk home. And my mom's like, do you have a ride home? He's like, no, I don't have a ride home. And my mom's like, well, come on, let me go get my purse and I'll take you home. So, like I said, he's only stayed behind us in like a complex. It was houses, but it was like a whole bunch of houses, kind of like a subdivision, I would say. So, my mom and me, we ride and take him home. My mom's kind of telling me, y'all shouldn't have been sneaking around, but, don't let my brother, scare you or whatever. I guess that was her way of trying to let him know it's going to be okay. So we drop him off. I get home. I'm texting V. I'm like, I hope your dad doesn't think I had anything to do with this. Like, I tried to talk you out of it. She's like, no, me and Donald told him you had nothing to do with this. This was all my idea. He's still going off about it and everything like that. So come Monday, that was maybe like Saturday, I would say. That was Saturday. I probably didn't hear from him on Sunday. Monday came, once again, like I told you, I drive. I had a car. But on Monday, I decided to ride the bus because I was taking that class where you bring the baby home. The fake baby that cries and you have to tend to it for a grade. So on Monday, I'm like, I got to tend to this little baby. I don't know how much it's going to be crying. I'm just going to go ahead and ride the bus home. So I ride the bus home. When the bus would stop, it would stop us at V and Donald's house. Instead of dropping V and Donald off, driving a little more than dropping me off, we all three would just get off at V and Donald's stop, so the bus would only have to make one stop. And then I would just walk across the lot to my house. So this particular day, I get off the bus, me, V, and Donald get off the bus, and my uncle's standing outside. And they had like a little car seat for the doll or whatever. I'm holding the little car seat with the doll in it. And my uncle says, hey, stop. So we stop. Me and V stop. Of course, Donald, he's a boy, so the dads aren't that strict on the guys about dating, so he really wasn't talking to him. So Donald kind of just goes on about his business and goes in the house. But he stops me and V, and he's like, if you keep doing what you're doing, he's talking to me. He's like, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna end up with one of those real babies. I'm looking like, who? And as soon as he got that out his mouth, my cousin V, like I told you, like she has a mind of her own. She's gonna do whatever, but she's quiet though. As soon as she seen that her dad was talking, I guess, nonsense, she walked right past him. She's like, Dad ain't talking about nothing. He's still on this same stuff that happened on Saturday. I don't got time for it. I already heard it. I already told him it was all my idea. So she walks right past him. I'm still standing there dumbfounded, like, why would I have one of these? And he goes, the next time you decide to have company over, send my kids home. I'm like, company? It was only one guy here and he was not for me. So I'm like, company? Okay. I didn't have any company, so what are you talking about? I didn't say that, but I'm thinking it. But once again, at this time, I'm 17. Like, I wasn't a disrespectful teenager. So when he said that, I'm just pretty much like, you know, okay, basically. So I get to walk in with my little car seat and the little fake doll, and I walk across the yard, and I get home, I'm telling my mom about it. And once again, my uncle is my mom's brother, and she's so nonchalant. She's like, oh, girl, don't worry about that. He's upset right now. But I was like, really? He really blamed me for her bringing him over. Like, I don't know. She said she told him that I had nothing to do with it, but I'm gonna assume that he was like, you know what, my child is quiet. I've never known her to date, so no, I believe that was for her, and she's just covering up. My baby's just covering up for her. I'm assuming that's what he thought. I to this day don't know, but I do know like maybe a couple of months after that happened, KJ and V ended up breaking up. Even into our adulthood, when I would see KJ, I would give him the side eye because, like I said, my cousin V was quiet. She was to herself. She wasn't messy. She didn't get around. And he basically played her in the end, like, was cheating and all kinds of stuff. And she basically jeopardized her freedom for him. So, hope y'all enjoyed that. That was my story about how my cousin got caught with the boy and I got blamed for it. I'm really not sure what I'm going to title it yet, but I thank you guys for watching. I am going to start putting in a couple of ASMR videos. I hope you guys enjoy those along with my other videos. And thank you guys for watching.